Hello, hello. Welcome back to Meet a Boo Sister with myself. I'm the founder, Mary Grace Iniguez of Hey Boo, a women's organization. And this is one of my favorite parts of being the founder because I get to have that one on one time with each of our Boo Sisters. Yes, I do have it initially, but this is where we get to really dive deep on their entrepreneurial journey and find out how they got started, but also learn from them too. So today, I have a special guest. Her name is Khryzza Kelley, and actually, our story essentially initially is very interesting too because we only met virtually through one of your events that I attended that I was very interested in. And then from there, the rest was history. So, Khryzza, please tell us about yourself first before we get into your business.
Okay, well, I'm Khryzza. I'm a Filipina, as you can tell by the earrings. I'm born and raised in the Philippines. I'm currently here in Orange County, Southern California. I'm a wife, I'm a fur mom, I'm an advocate, and in fact, I was an advocate first before I was an entrepreneur. And that's really basically that's a cornerstone of who I am. I'm passionate about a lot of things, mostly passionate about mental health, women empowerment. That's why I'm part of this amazing community right here. And of course, advocating for people who have less, whether it's less voice, less opportunity, less resources. But yeah, that's exactly who I am.
And you know what's interesting is the event I attended that you were hosting was around women advocacy and that subject. And that's why I was intrigued. And that's essentially how I'm going to be like your husband. That's how I fell in love with you is just the way you serve and advocate for everyone. Essentially, I know that we talk a lot about back home, but you advocate for everyone, and I really love that about you. You just have this kind spirit. You're very well educated, and you pop into all these different groups just serving. So I love that about you. So tell us how you got into your first business, CoWorq, because I know that you own multiple businesses.
Thank you. I co-founded CoWork with my business partner. 2021, so that's almost 4 years ago. We basically, at the time, both of us were also doing virtual assistant work. So we were also once virtual assistants before. I remember working for a virtual agency before, a virtual assistant agency, where I got paid around 30,000 pesos a month. That's probably 500, $600 a month. And I know that they charge my client $2,500 a month. So I think
Oh.
from that POV, I'm like, I think I'm getting the short end of the stick here. But my stories were not the worst one. I know a lot of folks. I've talked to a data scientist, data analyst in the Philippines who got paid as low as $1 an hour. And these are the things that going back to my advocacy roots, because when I was younger, I was a student leader. Being born and raised in the Philippines, I realized early on that, as what I've said in my social media post, opportunities are rare. That's why I always tell my American friends, try to go out of the country and especially go to countries like the Philippines, because you'll have a much greater appreciation of the abundance and all the possibilities that you can do here in the US. But in the Philippines, going back there, opportunities are not rare. You have to make it, you have to create it, and you have to you when you're already in a position of privilege, you have to create it for people who have less of it. So when I realized that a lot of our Filipino virtual assistants were getting the short end of the stick, not only just getting paid as low as $1 an hour, but they also don't have insurance, they don't have allowances, they don't have what else? Benefits, they don't have training. There's no career progression in becoming a virtual assistant. There's just so much downsides to it that I feel like, why is nobody advocating for these people? Like, why is nobody talking about it? We try to glamorize the job, but it's not glamorous. It really is not. So that's basically the birth of CoWork. And from there on, we met amazing entrepreneurs who think like us, who supports the same things that we support, who believes in the same value that we believe in. And we both envision, and including you, Atamari, we all envision of a future where maybe there is a formula here where it's good for the business, it's good for the people, it's good for the people who are building our business. So that's exactly what CoWork is all about.
And that is another reason why I fell in love is as an entrepreneur myself, I have hired different VAs from different agencies, and they never really worked out. And one agency, I got very close to my assistant, which I would never name who it was or what was going on. Because I would never want to get that person in trouble, but we got very close.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've been doing this for quite some time, so 15 years. So they could never pinpoint who it is, who's that VA or who that agency is. And we got very close, and I found out, like you just mentioned, that we were paying an X amount of dollars, but they were only getting not even 20% of that. I would
Yep.
say like 5 to 10% of that. And I was like, and being a business owner myself, yes, I do know there are hard costs,
Yep.
but I do understand what she was doing for me and where the cost was going. And
Mm-hmm.
so to me, I was like, wow, that's so unfair. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a conversation with her, and I was like, and I know we're not supposed to, I mean, I didn't sign
Yeah.
anything, but in integrity to the person who owns the agency, I know we're not supposed to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
also, my heart was kind of torn because in integrity for the human being, like the person who was serving me for so many years,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was like, would you be open to just like working with me directly and then I just pay you?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not the total amount that I was paying this agency, but
Yeah.
more than what they were paying you. And it was so sad because she also had integrity, of course. And she was like, no, I can't do that. And obviously they signed something as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that is actually where I flip the script in my mind of who I hire, where do I go, is because I was able to kind of know what was going on in the back end until I found you guys. So when I found you and you and I had that conversation and then you explained the whole story and how you were VA, I was like, oh my God, this is who I want to go with. And that's why we've always advocated for CoWorq, not only because of that, but because of the people you do have are educated. They know what they're doing. We don't actually have to sit there and train someone, and that's not the case always for a VA agency. I love that yours already come equipped, knowing pretty much, I would say like 85% what to do, and then they just kind of have to implement how we do it in our business.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. And that's why, of course, all the Boo Sisters hire CoWorq as well. So, um, how has that journey been for you, like coming to US and expanding on CoWorq?
Mm-hmm. How has that been for me? I think I can characterize I think for me, because I did not have a business degree. So, my degree was in international relations and diplomacy, so, which is pretty much far, but still similar or related to what I'm doing. And my background is more on advocacy work, student leadership, community leadership. So I think for me, what made my job as an entrepreneur and as an owner of a business easier is because I have such a solid footing of what I believe in. Because at the end of the day, there will always be competitors who have similar services than what compared to what I do. And there will always be competitors for Isla who have similar products compared to what I sell. So I will always have competitors, and they may charge higher or lower than me. They may have better or lesser quality of products or services than me. But what they cannot take away from me is my advocacy, my story, my community, and not only the community of virtual assistants or community of artisans, but community, like for example, advocating for small to medium business owners. I don't only advocate for our partner clients on a level that, okay, we got you your VA, you're good to go. But for example, when tariffs kick in, we also advocated in a policy level, speaking out as to what are the impacts of these trade policies to small business owners like me, and like majority of my partner clients. Advocacy in terms of women in business. I don't also just advocate for them by giving them a good purse to for them to, to bring into business events or connecting them with a VA, but also advocating for them by talking about crucial things like the ones that where we met at, where we talk about the unique challenges that Asian American women in business face. Because if we don't talk about it, we try to normalize it, and we try to make it seem like it is okay when it is not. So I think for me, how has my business been? Personally, I've been the same. I've been the same advocate the way I was when I was in the Philippines. But I think through the community that I found here, through the, for example, for Hey Boo, through the Hey Boo community that we have, through the business community that we have here in Orange County, Southern California, I was able to amplify my impact. And I think that is the cornerstone of being an entrepreneur. You are not designed to do it alone. Humans, there is actually a study by Stanford University where they discovered that self isolation is actually as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, because humans as we are, we're not meant to isolate ourselves. We're meant to be in a community,
Mm-hmm.
and we go farther and further in life and in business and in profit and revenues when we share together and we lift each other up. So I think that's where I am right now. Probably when I moved here, I was the new kid in the block, trying to discover, okay, what are the communities here? What are the networks here?
Mm-hmm.
Who are my new friends? Who are my new networks? Who could be my friends? But I think right now I'm in a position of my business where, okay, I think I know what the lay of the land is, what are the communities that really serve well, and how can we amplify and help those communities.
Ah, that's so exciting. It's so exciting for me selfishly because, as many know, I just moved to OC a month ago. And I'm actually, Khryzza, I'm documenting me going out to prove to
Oh,
people that, boots on the ground will never, it'll always surpass digitally, like networking. And so I'm documenting that to just prove to people because, yes, I'm a networking queen and people just think, oh, yeah, 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 but you bought a company, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I'm going to show you how much different it is to get out there. And I've seen it in you. Like, I've literally seen, you've been a member for a year, going on to almost 2 years, and I've seen your business blow up. And it's because I've seen you go out there. You're part of a lot of chambers and other organizations. You've been asked to speak on so many stages. You're another proof that that works. Like,
yeah.
digital will get you somewhere, yes, but literally boots on the ground and building relationships in person, that's the way to go. And it builds longevity. I think that's just the, yes, it takes longer to build,
Mm-hmm.
but the longevity of people knowing you and people sending people to you and people asking you to speak on their stages, that just goes much further.
Mm-hmm. And I think for businesses like both of our businesses, which are
Hmm.
digital, right? We're in the marketing, we're in the
Hmm.
virtual assisting. I One of the feedback that I always get whenever I go to these events or whenever I have my booth is that, oh, it's so nice to see you in person,
Yeah.
because it makes me believe what you're doing more. Makes you more credible. Because there's a lot of
Yes.
digital marketing companies out
Hmm.
there. There's a lot of virtual assistant
Yeah.
companies out there. And, the website can say so many good things, but
Yeah.
until you find the company owner, the founder, the CEO, you will never really authentically and genuinely believe about this company. So
Yeah.
it really is. And I also want to emphasize that offline presence should be your foundation.
Hmm.
Your online will go as far as you could go, but you have to have that offline foundation first, because that's also what I noticed. I started virtual networking because I thought, okay, I can just do virtual networking.
Hmm.
I don't have to go anywhere. I'm on I'm on
Yeah.
my laptop. I can join different groups from
Hmm.
different states, not only California, and it was nice. But it
Hmm.
was really the people that I networked with in person that
Yes.
would advocate for every post I post, for every photo, for every video,
Yes.
for every reel. They are your avid fans and supporters.
Hmm.
So go to offline first, go to in-person events, build relationships, because that they would lift you up online. They will share your posts, they will share everything.
Yes, those are the people who become your avid fans, your avid collaborators and partners. So many people ask, like, how did people like in Florida or Oregon or Canada know who you are? And I'm like, the thing is social media is important, your digital presence is important, but I started it off boots on the ground. I was known in my community. Then it ventured out to California and Arizona. Then the social media came in because COVID and all this stuff. And so it amplified it. And
Mm-hmm.
so for anyone who's listening, Khryzza hit it right on the nail that you have to be known in your community first
Yeah.
before you try to, like, yes. And I know that there's a lot of things out there where people are saying they've hit six figures in a month and whatnot just by doing things digitally.
Yep.
I don't know how true that is, because unless they're just selling, something that, who knows, right? I don't even want to go down that road. Um,
Yeah.
but I just know that's not long standing. I know that's not like what we're doing here.
Hmm. One
Yeah.
thing that I learned from you too is the likes and the number of followers are not everything. They are not everything. And I used to experiment with my marketing too before. I used to do ads. I used to like, okay, post every day or like, like ask people to like the page or follow the page. But then I realized, well, it's not really necessarily converting to
Yep.
paid services. It's not converting to clients. And until today, majority of my clients are referrals or people who knew me through the in-person events I've been to.
Yes.
So, and those are the clients that I also want because they feel the energy, they feel the connection, they are, as we've said, they are the avid fans. And as a business, if you want to go big, one of the things that I've learned too from amazing women leaders that we have is that you have to create your raving fans and leverage them and set them free because they will rave about your business, they'll rave about
Yes.
your services, and they will be doing the marketing for you without the paid ads, without the
Yes.
social media content that you have to edit on Canva or wherever you edit your content on. So
Yeah.
please go to your community, find your community, and then scale it online.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I have just been watching Khryzza from afar when I was living in Nevada, and I've just seen her blown up. And again, it's because I saw her going out. I don't know if that's true, right? Is that where you saw your business kind of propel?
Yep, yep, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I could see it from afar. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like on this stage and that stage. Everybody was like, Khryzza, you're everywhere. All the other sisters, not just me, we're noticing it. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
So now you mentioned Isla and Co a little bit in your conversation. So tell us how you got into Isla and Co because that's obviously as a woman exciting. So tell me more about that.
So as you know, I'm incredibly I don't want to use patriotic because I feel like that word has been tainted, but I always want to give back. I always want to give back to my community. Let's just put it that way. I'm a Filipina. I'm proud to be Filipina. I've shared very briefly during the mixer that when I was in corporate America, I had an experience where I felt that I was discriminated because I was from the Philippines, I was very young, I was a woman, and rather than being sorry for myself, which don't get me wrong, I felt like I felt sorry for myself because I'm human, it's natural to react that way. But then I realized, you know what, I cannot change who I am. I'm born and raised in the Philippines, I'm an advocate, I'm a woman, I'm usually the youngest woman in the room. Might as well just embrace it, and wear it as an armor, and hopefully other women will follow suit who have not seen what other younger women are also capable of doing, and they can be inspired by what I'm doing. So in Filipino, we call it para sa bayan. It means for the country. In Spanish, I know our Hispanic friends and brothers and sisters, they say por la cultura, which is for the culture. And I have those two phrases always resonated with me. And when I moved here, I remember Googling for Filipino handmade products because I want to give back to my community. I want to support Filipino products, Filipino artisans. I want to support our culture. And I I discovered amazing brands. They sold purses as well that are made in the Philippines. And for some reason, there's this one brand who sold a purse for $200 a purse. And I was in corporate America at the time. I was an individual contributor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I love my culture, but that is too expensive for me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, how about for me? How about for the middle class? I want to support my people still.
Mm-hmm.
And then I I dig more. I dug deeper about it. I asked my team to, research more about it, research more about the artisans. And this brand claims to work with an indigenous tribe in the Philippines, which is usually known for being below the poverty line. And when I realized that, I was like, well, if you're charging $200 a purse, why are your artisans still poor? Why are they still in the poverty line? Because I'm not saying that your business, the sole responsibility of your business is to make them richer. But at the very least, we have to make sure that what we do here positively impacts the community we're
Yeah.
saying that we're supporting. Because otherwise, it's only a marketing tool. It's not really a real purpose driven, value driven business. So when I knew about it, I'm like, you know what? This is another advocacy. This is another community that I think we can make a difference in. And we started creating Isla. So we Isla in Filipino, it means island. Isla and Co is the full name of this company. And we looked, I spent painless I spent thousands of hours on Facebook because if you know Filipinos, we are always on Facebook. So I spent thousands of hours.
Not Instagram, Facebook.
Not Instagram, it's Facebook. If you're gonna find a Filipino or a Filipino in life, go on Facebook. So they're always on Facebook. So I look at these groups, the handmade artisans, handmade crafts, all the crafts groups, all the Filipino groups. I literally look at every product, every post they made, and I found this amazing family of artisans. An amazing artisan too in Cavite who created our earrings, which is something like this that I'm wearing right now, and a family of artisans in Negros Oriental, who creates our purses and our handmade bags. And what led me to them is that these are the people who created these products not because they like fashion, not because they like wearing bags, not because they like wearing earrings, but it's because this is the only source of livelihood that they have. This is the reason that they were able to feed their kids, to send their kids to school, to be able to build their house. And when you look at their purses, their bags, you don't see that. And I was like, we should say something about that because when I look at your bags is not just a bag to me. Your bag is a
Yeah.
story of resilience, of grit, and the very typical Filipino resilience which we sometimes romanticize, but we really need to talk more about. So that's how Isla and Co started. But on the other side of the spectrum, it's also a model of sustainability. I'm tired of fast fashion. I'm tired of going after trends. I'm tired of purchasing things that don't last. I'm tired of wearing things because they were the trendy or they were the good, the cool things to do. I want as an entrepreneur, and if I want to be seen as somebody who is a leader in my community, I want to create and also wear things that have meaning and have stories of the communities that I serve. Because I remember this leadership conference that I joined when I was in college. He said he was also a community leader in the Philippines, and he said, if you truly love the Philippines, how much do you wear the Philippines? And when he told me that when I was in college, that reshaped the whole idea of advocacy in my head. Because if I'm gonna say I advocate for you, you should not only hear it from the words that I say, but you should also see it from the clothes that I wear, from the activities I go to, from the communities I'm part of. Because advocacy is not marketing. Advocacy is a way of life. And that's basically what Isla and Co is all about.
Oh my God, I love you. God damn. But it resonates with me so much because we all like to, we all have to go grocery. We all have to buy gifts or whatnot. And I always tell my husband, before we even moved to OC, because predominantly here in OC, there's a lot of farmers market. There's a lot of outdoor markets and there's a lot of boutiques, like little mom and pop shops. In Vegas, they do have some, but here there's a lot, like an abundant, right? And I remember coming here every month and, I was putting together my dimes and nickels because obviously budget.
Yeah.
And I would tell my husband, I really would rather just shop here. Like I would show him like the little shops, and I would tell him because I know where my money goes. Like I know when I am buying, etc., that that is probably paying their light bill. That is putting the food on their table. But also, as an entrepreneur myself, I know how freaking happy I get. Like every time I see a new member, a new ticket, whatever part
Yeah.
of my business is, I get so happy. So imagine you just buying a cup of coffee at a mom and pop shop, like how happy you make them. And so it just goes back to everything you just wrapped up here in a box and put a bow on it, that who we are, if we're truly serving women business owners, small business, etc., it's not in just what we say, but it's truly in how we move and what we do. And so I
Exactly.
love that about you.
Thank you. And one of the things too, I was watching this. This was an 8-year-old video from Stanford Graduate School of Business. It was a conversation with Indra Nooyi, who was the former CEO and chairman of PepsiCo, and she said, purpose is how you make your business. It's how it's how you make your money, not spending the money that you made. Because when we talk about purpose, especially with bigger companies, bigger corporations, right? When you say purpose, you try to connect it with corporate social responsibility,
Yeah.
but it's not. Purpose should be ingrained in how you operate, not only as a business, but also as a human being. If your purpose is to serve women in business, we should see that in how
Yeah.
you operate as an entrepreneur, and what are the things that you support, what are the causes that you support. Because I think right now we're so passionate, there's a lot of passion in every discussion here and there, but it will all boil down to every small decision we make, every purchase we make, every order we make,
Yeah.
everything that we probably post that we might not see as valuable, but other people are watching. And I think this is one of the things that I love about Isla too, is when I went to the Bay Area to support one of our Boo sister, Danielle Hawthorne. When I went to her Enough Women's conference, I was wearing this earring, and one woman approached me and say, "Hey, it's so refreshing to see a Philippine flag being worn, because I'm a Filipina
Wow.
and I don't see it somewhere." And if only I had, if only I had earrings with me at the time, I would literally give it to her. I was like, thank you so much. You literally just gave me so much validation of what we're trying to do here. Because at the end of the day, I also don't just want to end at representation. We're way past that. Women has to be represented everywhere. That should be the standard right now. We are now at the stage of really making conscious decisions, conscious actions to truly and genuinely support our advocacy.
Yeah. Oh, 100% agree. Um, what's one thing you wish more people knew about your businesses?
Um, One thing that I wish people knew about my businesses is that I wish they would know about the passion of every person behind my business. I'm the only person on behalf of my two companies in the U.S. All of them, except for me, are in the Philippines. How I wish that they knew the excitement of our artisans whenever I tell them like, "Hey, ate, we just sold out. This purse is already sold out, or this earring is already sold out. We have to
Oh,
make
wow.
more." The joy and the excitement that they feel whenever we tell them that, and also the joy and excitement that our artisans feel and give off whenever we co-create with them. Because here's also one thing that probably not a lot of people knew: we do not buy and sell, we co-create with them, we co-design with them, we basically build our business with them. And that means me, for example, in preparation for the 4th of July, I was asking my artisan, can you create something like this earring, but an American flag? Or can you create
Oh,
something that is like Filipino on one side, American on one side for
yes.
Filipino Americans,
Yeah.
or Mexican in one side, American on one side for Mexican Americans? Like, can you create something like that? And I can already see the wheels turning on their heads, just as we are trying to think about new ways. So I wish a lot of people knew that. On CoWork side, there's a lot of hardworking folks out there. We just had to find the right one. And it may not be, I'm an HR professional by trade. In corporate America, I'm part of human resources. And I always try as much as we could to believe in people, to believe the best in people. But I think if there's one thing that I wish people knew about the virtual assistant business is that it is not an easy industry to be in, on both sides of
Yeah.
the spectrum.
Hmm.
There's a lot of times where we have to, yes, advocate for our virtual assistants, but also hold them accountable. Because here's one thing that probably not we sometimes misunderstood. It doesn't mean that I advocate for you, I will tolerate you. I advocate for you means I see the best in you. And if I see you fall short of that because of the things that you can improve on, I will hold you accountable. And that's a very difficult thing to do. And on our clients as well, we have had clients in the past that we have, I think we have similar story here where we have to let go of just because it's just not serving us well. And a small to medium business owner, that impacts you tremendously
Yeah.
because you feel it stronger
Hmm.
than a corporation that
Hmm.
really doesn't feel it from their bottom line.
Hmm.
So I think from the point of view of CoWorq is that there's a lot of advocacy involved here, but there's also a lot of accountability involved.
Yeah.
And that is really, really difficult in the business of managing people.
Yeah.
So it's a very tough industry to be in, but we try our best and we do our best every day.
Yeah, it's very challenging. I think in every business when we're dealing with people and services and advocating for others. I think even just in networking, right?
Yeah.
It's challenging, and that's why we're so rooted in wanting to build relationships with people versus just meeting someone once and then sending our clients over.
Mhm.
So I feel you there, Krista. So I want to get into a couple of these questions because you just filled my cup, and I'm pretty sure anyone who's reading this, watching this, is like, damn. And we kind of touched on it, just the challenges of being an entrepreneur. But what is your why that keeps you going on those tough days?
I always talk about how important it is to know your why, but even I have to remind myself what my why is. Um, and there is this Japanese concept of ikigai, which is it's your reason for being, and I try to zoom in on that, right? Because that's your reason for being is the combination of what you're passionate about doing, what you got paid for, what the world needs, and a whole lot of things that just make sense in terms of who you are, what you're passionate about, and what this world needs. And I think for me, my why is that I have always been passionate about talking to people, about connecting people, and speaking up. I don't have problems speaking up. So to me, my why is speaking up for people who cannot speak for themselves or who cannot or who are not in that position yet. And this is basically shown in everything that I do, whether it's the advocacy work for small to medium business owners or women in business, or for the artisans of Isla and Co, who does not have any representative here in the United States, or for virtual assistants from CoWorq, who also don't have any spokesperson here in the United States. And that is my why. My why is trying to speak up for people, trying to create difference in the communities that I serve, and trying to also make not only my clients' life better, but make this world a little bit better. I always believe that every business, regardless of your industry, regardless of your services or products, and regardless of your competitors, every business does have one purpose. It's actually twofold: make your client's life better and make this world better. Because if your business does not move our society forward, does not improve the culture that we have right now, it's not a business, it's exploitation. And those are basically the tenets of what I do. Look for ways that are often underrepresented, exploited, a lot of gray area, and try to build structures over those industries.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So we're going to go into this, which leads into this question. What is some advice that you can give to other women building their businesses, building their dreams, going after their dreams?
This is not my advice, but I want to read this. This is from a poster posted written on a wall in an orphanage in Kolkata, India. And I was reading this again just this morning, and I was like, oh, this is really powerful. And even I have to remind myself about this. But it says, if you're kind, people may accuse you of selfish, interior motives. Be kind anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and your God anyway. So I think for all the women watching, we have a lot of limiting beliefs. We have a lot of doubt. Some are valid, some are not. We have a lot of fear. Some are valid, some are not. But at the end of it all, as what Mary Kay Ash said, there are three types of people in this world: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wondered what the hell happened. So let's just strive to be the people who make it happen, and whether it succeeds or not, it's really it's not up to us anymore. But let's just try to create good and difference in the world that we're part of, at least every single day.
Yeah, I agree. I align 100%. Obviously, that's why you're here. I try to align with people who are aligned. We share
Exactly.
similar core values.
That's also one thing that I want to also say about Heibu, women community. Um, every woman that I've met in this community, I was like, oh my God, we are so similar. I feel like, do we have like an application process here? Do we have to pass a certain test? Because I feel like we passed that test, that's why we're here. But I think it's very important, especially for women, to find your community like this. Because, as what I've said earlier, you can't do it alone. Regardless if how how skilled you think you are, how experienced you think you are, how well off you think you are in terms of investing financially in your business, you cannot do it alone. You have to have people and you have to have community like Heibu.
Yeah. Especially on those days when it is tough, right? On those days where you need to be reminded of the impact you make, just for this community. I know I'm the one who created it and started it, but even I get some texts at the right time when I need it, and someone will tell me, "Hey, this da 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 da," and I'm like, "Oh my God!" It's like that. It's like God was listening, and I needed to hear that to keep going. And in any business, we need that. We need those people who get us, who take time to get to know us and build those relationships, because you may not think you need it, but that one text, that one email, that one comment from a community, wherever community you're in, but if you're part of Boo, oh, hey Boo, then a Boo sister, whatever message they send you, you're gonna notice that, oh my God, I needed to hear that. And
Mhm.
it's always at the right time. And I really believe that's the universe conspiring for you,
Mhm.
because it'll never conspire against you. It'll never do that. So whatever you believe in, I definitely believe in the community part and serving first. Khryzza, how can everyone get a hold of you for both companies? Because I know now that they've heard your video and who you are and what you do, they're going to want to connect with you.
So we have a website. So for CoWorq, it's coworq.co, COWORQ.co. I know it's a little hard to spell. I like doing things that way for some reason.
Like your name?
Name, like people can't even pronounce my name, and now they can't even pronounce my best. So we have a website, and of course for Isla, it's sayhelloisla.co. Sayhelloisla.co. We're active on Instagram and on Facebook. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and especially for men and women who have purpose-driven businesses who they don't think could be profitable. Because here's also one thing that I'm starting to do this year is to help more to help more purpose-driven business become more profitable. Apparently, in the finance world, with the finance bros, there is a stereotype that if you are purpose-driven business, you're not usually profitable. Like it's usually one or the other. Like you choose profit or you choose purpose. But you can do both.
Yeah.
Why not have both? In fact, more and more businesses should be purpose driven. So please feel free to reach out to me if you
Yeah.
are whatever level or whatever stage you are in your business in terms of trying to think or brainstorming how purpose-driven businesses can also become profitable because you're not alone. I've did it with CoWorq, I've did it with Isla, and it can and it will be profitable just as long as you find the right recipe or ingredient for your business.
Yes. And to go back to that, the purpose driven business or, being revenue driven,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting because my husband brought this up to me before because I am very everyone knows this. I don't need to say it. Very purposeful driven, like in anything I do. And there are hard days. And he told me one day, he said that Warren Buffett has, I think is Warren, oh my God, please don't quote me on this. Someone's going to be in the comments and be like, that's not, he never said that. Whoever it is, someone like Warren Buffett, if it isn't him, I'm really bad with the names, has shared that the best investments he has made are the ones who are purpose driven. So the companies that are after purpose. And it is also quoted that the ones that are purpose driven, yes, in the beginning, they may not make that seven figures yet, but they do have more longevity in the game.
They
It
do.
just takes a little bit more work, right?
Mhm.
But with community, you can make that, you can speed that up a little bit more because not only are you, getting that support, but there's so many walks of life in community, not in just ours, in so many other communities where someone has been a business owner for 30 years or
Yep.
has, who knows how to the ins and outs of how to get into certain spaces that maybe you want to get in. So community is so important. Going back to what Khryzza expressed in regards to just being part of community and also being an advocate for people. I think that's one thing if we can take away from this call is to be inspired by Khryzza, this interview is to be inspired to advocate for anyone and everyone, people especially who can't do it for themselves. I've always been a believer, just like Khryzza, and I don't know if it's our culture or whatnot. Is like when we're ahead, is like I always feel this need to like I have the source, I have the tools, I know, and like I want to give it and allow for other people to also get to this point as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where that came from. Sometimes I'm like, okay, Mary Grace, you're a little crazy. Like you think you can help the world, but I think it takes a little crazy to
Yeah.
do something good.
We need more crazies in a good way in this world.
Yes.
We need more than that. And I think, what's promising to me is seeing this younger generation, this
Yeah.
Gen Z, this Gen Alpha coming in. They're very entrepreneurial. They're
Yes.
very purpose driven. They're passionate about a lot of things in their community. And I think to me, when you position your business also in a way that the younger generation will follow and will resonate with, you're
Mhm.
in for a long ride. You're
Yeah.
gonna be sustainable, not only profitable, but sustainable
Yeah.
as a business. So I think if you think you're the only one doing it or you're the only one believing in your advocacy or believing in your beliefs, just look outside of the groups that you're part of right now because you may be missing out. There's probably as equally passionate people that are also supporting the same things that you're supporting or passionate about the same things you're passionate about. You just have to find them. And speaking of community, I also just want to add that in reality, you may probably also meet quote unquote communities that
Mm.
will not be for you. And
Yeah.
that's okay. I've been in a lot of networking groups, networking events, networking sessions, business events, and some of them are not really a good fit for me, and that's okay. But it doesn't make me stop looking for the right community. And when you find the right community, invest in it, build stronger relations, give back when you can, and make that community even stronger and bigger. And that's what's gonna happen to our Cebu community here in Orange County too.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We didn't even share that Krista is actually part of the leadership team for our OC community, and we're just so honored to have you. I know that Monina, our managing director, hand selected her leadership team, and everyone, including Khryzza, are all intentional, are all heart centered, and really want to see more of what we're building in OC, because that's why you're part of it. And again, it's just an honor to have you as a member, but also part of the leadership team. I'm going to drop all of your information in the description so they make sure they have the URL, the Instagram pages, and any of the other social pages that you'd like us to list. It's always a delight just to speak with you. You always inspire me, and I'm always like, I'm just going to listen to you talk. I have questions. I'll just ask the questions. I'm like, pass the mic to Khryzza and she'll handle it all. But please, if you have not connected with Khryzza, please link up with her. As you can see, she is a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of heart, and also just resources and tools. And you wouldn't, it's funny because you own two businesses, and you would not guess that, hey, do you have a question about tariffs and all this stuff? Go to Khryzza. I'm like, huh?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So I love it. You're a wealth of information. Thank you again for spending time with me. And if you are a Boo sister and you have not done your Meet a Boo, please reach out to us. And if you are a Boo sister and have not connected with Khryzza, how dare you? I'm going to drop her information. Make sure you get connected with her. Thank you again, Khryzza.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.